Facebook is without a doubt one of the most controversial social networks on the internet. From spying claims to data breaches, it's hard to trust Facebook with much of anything. However, there are some things on your Facebook that you should never make posted publicly, and some things that you should just probably delete immediately. Do you still have a Facebook, and how much information do you post on it? Ready to join the finest squad? Then make sure to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss any of our interesting videos ever again. That being said, let's begin! Facebook has been sketchy from the start. Let's not forget the obvious, that Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook, actually stole the entire idea from the Winklevoss twins. There was a long legal battle regarding the creation of Facebook as an intellectual property, and it's a legal battle that Mark Zuckerberg actually lost. However, this was settled long before this turned into a huge billion-dollar conglomerate corporation. When the Winklevoss twins tried to sue later down the road, a judge ruled that the case was already settled and threw their case out. In any event, Facebook's history and even its creation is sketchy. Mark Zuckerberg has a very sketchy past as well. One of his first creations was to create a website where you could compare women to farm animals on a hot or not basis. Websites like Hot or Not began popping up not long after this, and this was the basis of these websites. He doesn't have a very stellar reputation when it comes to handling people's information either, as we'll get into. Mark Zuckerberg spied on his first users. If you've forgotten about this, let us refresh your memory. Mark Zuckerberg used to actually spy on some of Facebook's first users. He would read through their messages and some of the things that people were posting confidentially on the website. He would go through people's personal information, but we don't think any lawsuits or anything actually ever came of this. Today, the giant doesn't even have to spy on you. They literally know everything about you. They know the value of the house you live in, where you lived previously, they know where you've worked, how much the average employee in your position in that company makes, and so on. If you post anything on Facebook, or you've used the site at one point, then that site already knows just about everything there is to know about you, and there's not really a lot you can do to get that information out of Facebook's brain, so to speak. Facebook has just about every single detail they can possibly get on you, and more. So we're kind of baffled as to why people still trust Facebook with their information. Facebook has been selling your data. We're not just talking about some of the things you post on Facebook like your interests and your likes, we're talking about some of your most private and confidential information. If you have a private account that you only want your close friends and family to see, you probably thought it was safe to add your phone number to your profile. Well, think again, because a lot of people after doing so complained that they were starting to get unsolicited phone calls from companies trying to sell them things or trying to offer them new credit lines. This was pretty common in the early days of Facebook. This is because your phone number and most of your information was shared with outside sources. This is how they made extra money on the side. Did you really think they made all of their money solely through showing advertisements? That's another thing. Advertisers know all of your personal data as well. That's why they can show such pinpoint targeted ads towards you and ads that only cater to you. They already know what you like and what you would be interested in. Have you ever gotten a phone call from a marketing company after putting your number on Facebook? Perverts use the platform to spy on kids. This is one of the most sickening parts of Facebook, and something you should always educate your children about. There are a lot of perverts that utilize this social network so that they can spy on children, and your children may be at risk. Even when people set their profile to private, there are so many settings you have to go through to make sure no one from the public eye that you don't know can find you and view your photos. Now that Facebook is linked to Instagram, it's made it easier for people to spy on you or people you love. Some of the people most susceptible to these risks are the young people. Young girls are often the target of pedophiles and perverts online who like to download their pictures or stalk them obsessively for when they upload new pictures. It's allowed some people to track them down in real life and attempt to meet up with them. If you suspect that anyone is stalking your child on Facebook or sending threatening messages, you should obviously contact your local law enforcement right away, because it could be days before your report sent to Facebook is even read. You need to delete these things from your Facebook page immediately. I think it's a given at this point that you should never post personal information on Facebook. Even if your profile's set to private so that outside prying eyes can't see your confidential information, do you know who can see your private information? Facebook. Allowing them to see your private information is far worse than allowing anyone from the public to see information that you don't want getting out into the public, because they're definitely not shy with any of your information. There are so many shady things that Facebook does, it's honestly hard telling why people have an account with them still. If you have any of the things we mentioned in this video on your account, delete them immediately. Go through every single post you have and make sure you don't mention any of those key things on your profile at any point. It's also not a secret that Facebook likes to sell your information to other companies because while they make a lot of money off of advertising, that's obviously not enough for the corporate giant. What kind of information do you post on your Facebook? Do you feel confident with all the information you currently have posted on there? Never upload your status of where you're going on vacation. This one should honestly be a given. When I lost a loved one in the family, I told the widow to alert the sheriff to be on the lookout for their home because the time of the memorial was posted in the local newspaper, and thieves love that. This is true if you're going on vacation as well. Make sure all of your valuables are locked away, and make sure you have some kind of security system as well as someone to watch over the house. When you post status updates on Facebook about going on vacation, that's paradise city for thieves. There are people on your friends list that you probably trust, but don't tempt anyone with a status update that lets the world know that you're not home and your house is easy pickings in the neighborhood. We know you're probably excited to be on vacation, but share the vacation pictures when you get home, not while you're miles away only to come home to a nasty surprise. Don't post every time you go to the hospital. There's this weird phenomenon that people like to do whenever they have to go to the hospital for any reason. For some reason, they always post a long status on Facebook and usually tag the hospital that they're at. For the reasons we listed above, this just gives people who know you that want something you have and into your house knowing that you're not home. You should never ever post a status that alerts people of an empty house without your presence. Also, on this note, you should try to make sure that you have someone watching over your home or have a cheap alarm system with security if you ever do need to leave your home and you, for whatever reason, feel the need to let everybody know that your home is empty. The only solace we can give you is that you should be home soon, and most robbers wouldn't bother going into a house knowing that you'll probably be released soon. There are people, even some that you consider friends, who are just waiting for the opportunity to strike. Don't post information about where your kids go to school. Going back to the pervert scandal, it's very unfortunate that so many sick people in the world use Facebook to spy on kids, and it could be your kids. Just because you think you're keeping your kids safe, don't think that it can't happen to you. It can happen to anyone, and it does happen to plenty of innocent people. In our opinion, people who are on the sex offender registry shouldn't even be allowed on Facebook. However, Facebook does a horrible job of warning you of people on the offenders registry, and often, at times, it doesn't give you any kind of clue or warning. So when these people send a friend request to kids, these kids have no idea who they're adding. For all they know, they could have just met them at a previous date, and most people don't even look at the people they're accepting. You should always educate your kids on the dangers of adding random people on Facebook, especially people they're not 100% certain that they haven't met in real life. If the profile looks like a fake, then block it and report it. Your work information. Something people often don't consider when they're posting on Facebook is that their boss or even their CEO could be reading their posts. We can't count the number of times we've seen people fired because of something incredibly stupid that they posted on Facebook. There have been people who have even posted insults towards their boss or people who have posted demeaning things about their boss on Facebook. How do you think that went for them? Well, as you'd suspect, they were promptly fired or demoted to an embarrassing position that they definitely wish they weren't in. We'll bet they wish they would have kept their mouths shut, huh? It's hard telling what drives people to insult their bosses on Facebook, knowing that everyone can see their statuses, but seriously, just keep your work information off of Facebook. Consider deleting Facebook altogether. This may not be exactly what you wanted to hear, but at this current point in time, there's really no reason to have Facebook anymore. There are far better ways to communicate with your friends and family now and to share updates without putting your security at risk. The fact is, Facebook has shown little regard and has done pretty much nothing to keep your privacy safe. We can't blame Facebook altogether either. The site has grown way too big for its own good, and it's not all Mark Zuckerberg's fault, but perhaps if the site was more concerned with safety rather than cranking out new untested features that need to be developed better, the site would be in a far better spot, and he would have never had to go before Congress to try to explain how the internet works to a bunch of old guys. If you're someone who still owns a Facebook account, what kind of information do you post? Do you trust Facebook with your private information? Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time.